Today's edition of Back Roads of Illinois. We are bringing you lasted for farming sources and information sponsored by AgriGold. I am Cesar Delgado. I am your host for today's program before Christmas Eve and the New Year. We were going to have a conversation about the crop conditions in Iowa with Jay Matthews from Growmarks on Monday before Christmas Eve. Jay is a senior agronomist markets for the Growmarks in Iowa. There is a lot of stuff going on in Washington, D.C. However, the Republicans say that the Farm Bill extension to be putting up for a vote once again until there are a resolution of the spending bill. We will see what happened in Washington. This is your rural news sponsored by AgriGold in Central Illinois. The cattle on feeds report estimate is the placement N92. 6 between 99. 8% for December report on the feeds report from the Department of Agricultural. This week is pretty slow down because of the close of the commodity markets on Christmas Day and back on again for Thursday. Finally, you have a Merry Christmas. Thanks for listening to Back Roads of Illinois for this year. We were coming back with Jay Matthews from Growmarks. We were going to have a conversation about the crop conditions in Iowa with Jay Matthews from Growmarks on Monday before Christmas Eve. Jay is a senior agronomist markets for the Growmarks in Iowa. Hi, Jake. How are you today? You're welcome to the show.
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about which part of Iowa could you tell our listeners, and how much of the yields for this year?
Yeah, so I live in Northeast Iowa in New Hampton, but I cover kind of the whole state as a Growmark um, employee working with all the members in the state of Iowa. So I get to see a broad stretch of Iowa in that role. I would say yields in Iowa were kind of vary a little bit depending on the weather. You know, there's kind of some of the central Iowa had some really good moisture throughout the year, had some really good yields. Northwest Iowa had some challenges with some flooding that they had early. I would say where some of those spots didn't get flooded out, things were pretty good. Northeast Iowa um, had some challenges with some rainfall late, but still had really good yields. Most growers were pleasantly surprised with what their yields were, getting up in that 220 to 250 range, pretty easily. So for the moisture we had, everybody was pretty happy.
How was the season for this fall in the Mississippi River region?
Yeah, so we had a great fall for harvest and field work. Um, we very minimal rainfall. Um, to get harvest operations done, to get some tillage done. So everybody was really happy with that. Harvest moistures, probably honestly a little bit lower than what everybody would have wanted. Some of the stuff dried down a little bit too fast with the lack of rainfall that we had, both prior to harvest and then during harvest. We had some nice warm days. So, saw some corn coming in out of the field at, sub 15%. Um, so always the goal is try to be around that 15 if at a minimum. Beans were coming in that 7, 8, 9% range. So everything was really good there. Um, Again, probably a little bit dry, but good harvest abilities. We did finally get some rain to allow some anhydrous applications to get made in the fall. So everybody was pretty happy about that to be able to get some of that workload off of the spring.
Is there any rain in central Iowa on back on August?
Yeah, so Central Iowa was fortunate. They did get there were some bands that come across um, kind of that highway between 80 and Highway 30. There were some bands of rain that went through there that some others didn't necessarily get, so the yields were really really good. That was probably some of the better spots and best spots in Iowa, honestly, this year out of the state.
How about your region?
Yeah, so my region up in northeast Iowa, like I said, we had a little bit of lack of rainfall throughout July and August, um, but had farmers were really happy with the yields that they ended up with on their cornfields. Um, Soybeans probably weren't as good up here as they would have liked to have seen them, but when with in this area, if you miss some of those rains in August, you kind of put a cap on the beans.
Jay, could you tell us about newest products and services for Growmarks in Iowa?
Yeah, I'd love to. So, the GrowMark system has a big focus as a cooperative system on our farmer members. So we try to make sure that the products we bring out are tested and well vetted to make sure that they're doing what they say they'll do and have the responses that they need. So one of the new products that we have coming out this year that we're really excited about is some biologic seed treatment products. So most of the time, your biologics are sometimes hard to handle and utilize because they're very easy to kill, being a living thing. So this year we are gonna bring out a system we call Clips. So there'll be some biologic seed treatments that if you have hard-sided seed boxes, you can put this clip system inside that seed box, and as the box empties, it will deposit that biologic on that seed as it goes into your tender or planter, so that you can gain the benefits of those biologic seed treatments without having to do a lot of extra handling of seed um, in the process. So very easy, very user friendly, and we're really excited to be able to bring that to our members and our farmers.
What herbicides do you offering to growers from Growmarks?
Yeah, so the GrowMark system has partnerships with all of the major herbicide manufacturers. So our members are able to access all any of the herbicides. This year we actually have a new launch that we're doing with called Avalare. So it's our own proprietary brand of herbicides for some of those products that have come off patent. So we'll be able to help farmers maximize their herbicide programs by adding in some Avalare branded products to help bump up a rate to get a little better load of AI to the ground. In the case of Prees, so we're really excited about the Avalare brand that Growmark is bringing on as well.
Do you have any final thoughts on the harvest season in Iowa?
No, I mean, like I said, it was a really good harvest. It was a long run for a lot of guys. Not having any rain days really in there. Um, just glad to see that everybody made it through safely, got their work done, and were able to bring in another good harvest into their bins and into our supply chain.
Thanks, Jay, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
This is Jay Matthews from Growmarks on Back Roads of Illinois. This is your quarterly report on Back Roads of Illinois before the holiday season in the Midwest. Hogs weighed under 50 between 119 is 99. 8 between 100, 8 is 100. 3. Hogs weighed under 120 between 179 is 100.3 per heads. Let's go to the cash hog markets for today's cash markets on a Monday. Asked price is 78. 81 for the price of the cash trend. Iowa and southern Minnesota is not available for this week because of the holidays. Let's take a look at the loin and the butt markets. The loins markets is 82. 36. The butt markets is 110. 84. This been your hog markets update on Back Roads of Illinois. Thanks for Jay Matthews from Growmarks. You can listen to our show on YouTube and whenever you get your podcast. This been Back Roads of Illinois. I'm Cesar Delgado. Have a great Christmas.